Hi there guys, how you doing? I need to make sure you guys can actually see me. I'm gonna back this up a little bit. So join me as I'm jamming here in a kind of bluesy, jazzy thing. I'm using a lot of fingerstyle technique and C minor pentatonic. So it's your trusty pentatonic box here on the 8th fret. Gotta make those funny faces as well. So a lot of times I'll be throwing in some chromatic notes in between these pentatonics. So instead of just doing the bluesy way, I'm also gonna do some So basically what you can think of is try to fill in those gaps in between the allowed pentatonic notes. So if you have, then you can play these two in the middle, right? But you're gonna have to lightly touch upon them for them to sound good. I like doing that. This sounds especially good when you go back and forth between like classic blues licks and that kind of weird approach. Likewise, if you're comfortable playing arpeggios, and you can add diatonic arpeggios, which means we're playing arpeggios that kind of match the current scale. So since the key is C, C minor, we can try to throw in some arpeggios that I know work in this scale. So for example, the E flat major arpeggio. It gives us a really nice starting point for a lick, and we can end it again in a classic blues way. So again, when the weird meets the expected, that's when you can find really some cool stuff going on. So again, I was adding these chromatics, I was adding arpeggios, and most importantly, I was always kind of resolving back to classic blues licks. And of course, always think of dynamics. How can you squeeze some extra juice out of guitar? How can you play both soft and loud and kind of go in between those and play around with them? That's how you create a nice dynamic atmosphere. So you can start out gently. That's kind of SRV-ish to me. again, you have to make the faces. And then I'm going up in dynamics here, pushing a little bit harder, playing a little bit faster, and just trying to increase the intensity to sort of kind of take the listener from, you know, point A to point B. Again, we can start slowly, softly, not too many notes. We can increase a little bit. We can change the note density, play a little bit faster. That's just a random chromatic shapes. If you want to try them out, they're symmetrical and you add them randomly. So all you have to do is think of this shape. So in this case, it's going to be 8, and then 9, and then 10. That's your shape. And you just move that around, and then you try to land on a good place. So for example, if you can, again, land on a blues lick, that's going to sound good. So. Another thing I love to do, just another tool to provide you with some variations in your lines, and that is to play a melody on a single string. And that has numerous advantages. One of them being you're not going to get the kind of tonal mismatch which you get between different strings. So it's going to sound tonally very evenly. Also, it's gonna force you away from your standard licks, which typically use many strings, right? You're not gonna be able to do that on one string. So let's try it a little bit. Playing on the B string only in the key of C minor. Beginner watching this, you should also be thinking, well, hey, if you can improvise with one finger, then probably my technique is going to be more than enough to start improvising, start jamming without all the, the fancy stuff. You don't need that to make cool lines. You can definitely do. one finger come up with ideas, then regardless of your current level, you're definitely going to be able to come up with some cool stuff. When you finally allow yourself to use all your fingers again, it's gonna feel like, yeah, guitar playing is super easy, basically. Cool, guys. So I really think it was fun to share this stuff with you. I love jamming around like this, and most of my stuff is jam-based. Ricardo, awesome to have you here. So I hope you found this somewhat beneficial. I'm going to keep this video on the channel so you can go through it again and jam around. The backing track, you can find it on GMC, and as you know, we always have a backing track free per lesson, and this lesson is called Mixing Jazz Chords with Blues by Stefan Lucarelli. So you can check that out on the GMC website as well. And I hope you're going to have some good practice sessions ahead of you. Have a good one. Cheers.